Because I live in a rural area, people aren't able to travel. It's through PBS that we can learn about places that seem almost incomprehensible. I think PBS is the right place for the series Native America. We represent the way that Native Americans live within their landscapes. PBS has brought to me the rest of the world, and I think that's important.
You're watching New England Public Media on WGBY Springfield.
All who set foot in Sanditon fall in love on the spot. Was that your experience, Miss Hayward?
I am besieged by fortune hunters. I have a plan for us both to find husbands here in Sanditon.
Love is not as simple as you seem to think.
Why should it not be?
The new season of Sanditon premieres Sunday night at 9.
Coming up, we're connecting you with the creativity and culture in your community, including a choreographer who's training the next generation of dancers.
Just seeing the daily growth, mentally, physically, creatively, they are expanding just every day, and that's been like the greatest gift for us as a team to see that growth.
A local filmmaker draws from the real-life pandemic nursing home tragedy to create a fictional call-to-action movie.
We cannot let the most vulnerable people in our society get tossed away when we're in trouble. People are not disposable.
And friends and strangers unite to create community through song as a way to deal with the isolation of the pandemic.
We don't have any plan. There's no one in charge. People show up and they sing.
Join us for those stories and more as we explore the creativity, culture, and community that make us Western New England. Up next on Connecting Point.
Support for Connecting Point is provided by our contributing viewers.
Welcome, and thanks for joining us for Connecting Point, your source for creativity, culture, and community. I'm Sidalis Bauer. Teddy Forance grew up in Southampton and began dancing seriously as a child. In his late teens, he left this region to build a career as a contemporary dancer and choreographer. That journey enabled him to work with pop music stars like Madonna, Lady Gaga, Usher, and Kelly Clarkson. Today, Farrance is back in Western Mass, running a new dance program called CLI, a Dance Conservatory, that he and a few friends started several years ago when living in Los Angeles. Producer Dave Frazier visited with Farrance and brings us his story.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bye-bye.
Teddy Forance is back at his family's dance school, the Hackworth School of Performing Arts in East Hampton. He's running CLI Dance Conservatory, a highly intensive 9-month program for experienced and talented young dancers.
You know, I think to have longevity, you need to stay curious and always learning from every situation, good or bad. It's like, you know, learning's the most important thing. So really, you know, it's kind of a full circle, create, learn, inspire. We just try to keep that revolving, you know, door happening inside of our company with our teammates and all the dancers that we teach as well.
Farrance has had a love of dancing for as long as he can remember and began winning awards and competitions while he was still in school. We featured him on our Making It Here Teen Style program back in 2006, and over the past 15-plus years, he built a busy career as a contemporary dancer and choreographer.
Started working with Janet Jackson, Lady Gaga, got to assist on Justin Bieber's stuff, just, you know, a lot of pop stars and that type of thing as well. And then from there, I started a dance company, and we toured, you know, doing contemporary work. From there, we started CLI Studios, and CLI Studios has been our online content platform for the last 7 years. And recently, this has been our new baby here, the CLI Conservatory, where it's dancers 18 and up, training to be professional someday in concert dance, commercial dance, Broadway, you know, really just all the different facets and knowledge that we can hand down to the next generation. And it's, I'd have to say this has been my favorite so far.
Over 300 students auditioned for the first CLI class last September, and from that, Farrance and his staff chose roughly 40 to come to East Hampton to learn jazz, hip-hop, contemporary, and other styles of dance.
This transition was huge for us. You know, we made a big decision to move from Los Angeles, our whole content team, to East Hampton, Massachusetts. We film all of our online content from this building as well. So all of our dancers have the, you know, the opportunity to assist the choreographers coming in.
Alex Arce is here from Minnesota. He says he didn't have a clear direction as to where he wanted to go after high school, but knew he wanted to be with others who love dance.
Not always do you have everyone at the same level, like striving to be the best all together. So that's like, it's like subconscious. Like I don't think we realize how much energy that is pushing forward for all of us to like have a better career. So I'm really grateful for that.
Hi, my name is Frances Tirado, and I'm
Frances Tirado is from Puerto Rico and is teaching an online dance challenge.
So I'm teaching a challenge, which means kids are going to be able to send videos to me, and I'm going to be able to put them on the CLI app, and I'm going to be able to respond to them and give them corrections. So not only am I doing an online challenge, but I'm actually interacting with people in the CLI community, which is really special to me.
The conservatory draws from students all around the world. Amanda Knowles is from Toronto, Canada.
It's not so far from home. It's like an 11-hour drive, which isn't so bad. I have learned so much. It's insane. Like, I have to go home and write so much in my journal because it feels like I'm just like overflowing with knowledge and I don't want to forget it.
There's a lot of styles of dance that like I came here feeling very uncomfortable with and unsure of, and taking classes in them more has made me want to like work in them and grow in them. And I've just discovered so much about like who I am through dance and how I see myself in the world and what I want to create.
One more time.
Beyond the dancing, Farrance focuses on keeping the students mentally and emotionally healthy, recognizing that this is the first time away from home for many.
Like anything, you know, it's an adjustment for people who are from different places. At first it's like, whoa, this is a completely new spot. But they've really, I think, enjoyed the community aspect of being in a place like this. We go to Big Y every day for lunch, and they know we're definitely in the building. They're like, where are you guys from? And they're like, we're from here, we're from there, we're from here. So it's been cool to see slowly us getting more involved in the community.
Boo, 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 ba. Low.
Farrance doesn't perform much these days, but feels he can do more for the evolution of dance as an instructor and entrepreneur than he did as a performer.
You know, just seeing the daily growth, I've never had the opportunity to really invest my time to this many dancers. And I think mentally, physically, creatively, they are expanding just every day. And that's been like the greatest gift for us as a team to see that growth.
Feeling outrage and grief after witnessing news accounts of some of the treatment of veterans and those who care for them during the pandemic, Cummington musician Laura Wetzler decided to write, direct, produce, and score her own homegrown indie film entitled What Happened at the Veterans Home. The fictional drama depicts the story of a disabled veteran, her nurse daughter, and a CNA worker caught in the center of a pandemic nursing home tragedy. The Call to Action film is an official selection at 25 international film festivals and has won numerous awards. I talked with Wetzler to learn more about the film.
Well, like everyone else, it just came out of being horrified. And I don't sit well with being upset. And as an artist, as a musician, as a writer, it's part of how we cope with things, is to try and make something out of it that can possibly inspire people or you know, at least reflect what's going on.
The fictional drama tells the story about a veteran, her nurse daughter, and a CNA worker who are all in the middle of a pandemic healthcare tragedy. How were you able to authentically portray these characters? What kind of research went into creating them?
Well, I spoke to a lot of folks. I spoke to veterans. I spoke to healthcare workers, and healthcare workers have been very vocal about what they've been through. They've put a lot of, they've been crying out to all of us, you know. So it's not as if you know, it's a surprise. Of many of them are suffering from PTSD. They felt some of them are being attacked. I mean, it's just been really, really difficult for them.
And I know that this is an all-female cast in the film. What was it that made you want to depict the story from that perspective? Was there anything that went behind that? What went into the creation of the characters?
Well, I just felt like people expect a story about a veteran to be a male veteran, and the fact is many women have served in the American military for the last 250 years, and many women of color have served in the military for the last 250 years in various as nurses, in various ways, and I just thought that it was an opportunity to be able to really change people's stereotype about what a veteran looks like.
Was this something that you've ever ventured into before, or is this your first time creating a film?
This is my first film, but I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm a professional musician. I normally tour in about 100 dates a year. I'm a writer, so I'm accustomed to writing, but I wrote this first as a play. And so the idea is that these women are being interviewed by a journalist like yourself who is asking them questions about what happened to them. And so it looks a lot like a documentary.
The film has already won numerous awards, including Best Screenplay in Paris and Best Feature in Athens, and that's just to name a few. It's also an official selection at 25 international film festivals. So congratulations for that achievement. What does this mean for you as an artist to have this film receive all of this great recognition?
Well, we're very proud of the whole team because we were a very small team. I mean, I laugh sometimes when I look at the credits of big Hollywood movies, and there are hundreds and hundreds of people. It was 4 actresses, me, Jared Skolnick, who is the director of photography and worked on the edit with me, and a sound guy, and it was just very, very small team working on this. So I'm really, really proud.
As I mentioned before, we all heard about the different accounts happening around the world, and especially it hit close to home locally with the tragedy at the Holyoke Soldiers Home. I have to say, though, myself watching this film, it really hit differently, just hearing and seeing the characters. What is it about art that is able to kind of elicit this different emotional response from others and even provoke change?
I know folks who are living in facilities, and I was horrified that it felt like the leaders thought somehow that these people were disposable, and they're not. They are our mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters. They are us, and so I felt like I wanted to give those numbers some humanity. So that we could relate to the tragedy in a different kind of way.
Well, and the film is heartbreaking, but yet hopeful at the same time, and you describe it as a call to action. What would you love for viewers to take away after watching this film?
My feeling is that we're all responsible for taking care of each other, and that we have to figure out as a society, how are we going to create supportive environments where we can take care of the most vulnerable family members, lovers, partners, parents. We have to, as a society, figure out how to do this. It's not just pointing fingers at people. Institutions are really hard, but we've got to be more creative. We've got to figure out, we cannot let the most vulnerable people in our society get tossed away when we're in trouble. People are not disposable, period,
And to that point, at the film's premiere on Sunday, March 20th, a portion of each ticket sold will be donated to 2 organizations, Soldier On and the National Association of Black Military Women. Why did you choose these 2 organizations in particular? And tell me about the importance of having this be an aspect of the film premiere.
Well, I did a lot of research about who was doing what locally, and I loved the work that Soldiers On was doing in terms of housing homeless vets and doing a tremendous amount of counseling services. So I thought, as a local organization, wesoldieron.org people should check it out. They're a wonderful not-for-profit organization. And then the National Association of Black Military Women is also an incredible organization, and they maintain a beautiful website with the history of Black women in the military, and I studied from that website. I learned a lot, and I used it as research to make the film, and I felt I really owed payback to this wonderful organization that many people are not aware of. People don't even know of this organization, and people should. It's a great organization.
It was early in the quarantine of 2020 that a couple of local singers from Montague decided to meet up in the town common to sing some songs as a way to feel somewhat normal again. They met at 2 o'clock and sang for about an hour, but little did they know at that time they would be joined by several others and continue to meet up every day regardless of the weather. Friday, March 18th, 2022 marks 2 straight years that friends and strangers alike have gathered on the town common at 2 o'clock to share an hour of singing, and Connecting Point's Brian Sullivan brings us their story.
One day, it may look like this outside on the Montague Town Common, only to look like this the very next day. This person may be here on Tuesday, but this one is here on Wednesday. Anyone looking for consistency here in Montague Center can find it in these 2 things: the location and the fact that every day at 2 p.m. there will be songs being sung for at least an hour. The faces and music may change, but since the 18th of March 2020, an assembly of merry melody makers has gathered here. And it's possible that it was born out of a sense of cabin fever during the second week of 2 weeks to flatten the curve.
Everything was getting canceled. One of the local choirs rehearsals got canceled. Several of the people lived over just up on Taylor Hill, and they were like, we got to sing. And they sent word out to neighbors and friends and just said, we don't know what's going on. Just show up at the Common on Wednesday, March 18th, 2020, and 2 o'clock. And about 16 of us showed up here not really knowing what was going on. Maybe everyone knew 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people, but not the whole group. And we just sang.
No one knew we would be here 2 years later. It was just something we started and said, this was pretty fun, let's do it again. And then, hey, let's do it again. And oh, I guess we can still do it in the rain and the snow and the heat and the, yeah.
Will Qualley and Lori Davidson were 2 of the first to embark in this marathon endeavor, and each brings a solid set of song-singing skills to the table. That's not to say that the others in the circle aren't also quality singers, but this was never about getting the best vocalists in Montague to join in. It was about getting anyone who wants to come down and sing to do just that, regardless of skill.
Over time, singing has gotten, in some ways, treated as something that is out of reach unless you sound like somebody who's, a pop singer or a star. People aren't what you would call good singers from a point of view of carrying the tune or the pitch or the tone of their voice or that kind of thing, and, voice training ideas. It's all pretty much, people's just singing.
This unique circle of singers also boasts the fact that there's no real leader. Whatever happens here, it's all organic.
We don't have any plan. There's no one in charge. People show up and they sing, and so we get to know each other by what's brought on a day. I mean, our songs can come from the plow guy coming by, or the weather, or what's in someone's heart. And as people share a song, it's never just the song. There's always a little bit of something of them.
The snowy Wednesday of March 9th, 2022 that we dropped by marked the 721st consecutive day that singers have gathered here on the lawn. It's kind of a remarkable feat, considering they may be the only one of their kind in the entire country.
The group appears to have taken a page out of the book of the United States Postal Service, because for the past couple of years, they've been coming out here to this town square through rain, sleet, and snow. And they may have even done the Postal Service one better in that they're not delivering junk mail and bills. They're delivering songs of hope and inspiration every day.
And not just inspiration for passers-by either. Although it does seem they may have finally won over the kids on the school bus who weren't exactly their biggest fans when they first started. No, they inspire each other to keep showing up, whether it's snowy or clear and sunny. And if they keep showing up like this, the 2-year marker of Friday, March 18th may just be another day on the calendar.
I don't think we have any plan of stopping. There isn't a next thing. There isn't a goal. There's just come at 2. It's sing o'clock.
I'm a child of the library. It made me who I am. It taught me.
Every week, Connecting Point explores the creativity, culture, and community that make us Western New England, but it doesn't stop there. You can find us online anytime for exclusive features and content. And in this week's digital exclusive, we have a musical treat for you. As friends and strangers who've gathered every day at 2 p.m. in Montague Center to sing since the start of the pandemic, perform the song Payment for the Plow Guy.
When the storm was done, I shoveled for hours from the road right up to the door. And when all was finally cleared away, of course, it snowed some more. Many times a year, payment for the plow guy to keep the driveway clear, salt and sanded too.
You can find that digital exclusive online right now at nepm.org/connectingpoint. As a young girl in India, Veena Chandra was inspired to play music by her father, who even named her after an ancient Indian stringed instrument in the hopes she would take a liking to music. Since then, Chandra has garnered international recognition in the Hindustani classical music genre as a renowned sitarist, composer, and teacher. Chandra also followed in her father's footsteps and passed down the music tradition to her son, Devesh Chandra, who joins her in performances playing the Indian hand drum tabla. I spoke with the mother-son duo to learn more about them and Hindustani classical music.
Hindustani classical music, first of all, is coming from India.
Yeah.
And it's coming from North India. So in India, we have sort of two forms of classical music. One is the Carnatic form, and that's in the south. And then we have Hindustani classical music, which is in the north.
North Indian.
So first of all, it's from the northern part of India, and the instruments we'll be playing in the performance are sitar, you see here, and tabla.
Veena, you were almost born destined to play music. Your father named you after a traditional stringed Indian instrument. So tell me, now you have gone on to receive international respect and recognition. How did your passion for music begin?
My father had all these instruments, and he used to play at night. And I would sit next to him, and he'll be all done, and I will be still sitting, hoping that he will play a little bit more. So he actually inspired me to play music. I think that's what I would say.
And just for clarification, can you explain what the tabla is?
Tabla is a pair of Indian drums. There's a right one, which is a higher one, and a lower one bass. And so it's a very unique instrument in that everything. This is the right one. Yeah, this is the right one. And then there's a lower one, but it's a unique instrument in that everything that we play, we can say. So the music that we have is an oral tradition, is passed down generation to generation as a language. So when she's saying, my first words were dada tete, which were the syllables from the drums. Yeah. So it is a language, and we speak it. And really, when we're performing, she was describing to you the format of the performance. When we're performing, we're really coming together and having a conversation. And one of the real special things about it is that we can't do that ever again. So it's like it's a special moment in time, and we hope that people can join us for that.
Every time it's unique, even though we play the same rag, supposedly, and actual decision happens at the moment when we get on the stage, that when we look at this audience and see what is going to be most suitable for them to listen to at that point. But every time when we would perform any performance, it will be totally unique for that audience. How they inspire us or not inspire us, or whatever, whatever happens at the moment, that's what it is.
I have to say that when I was watching some of your past performances, I wasn't expecting for myself to kind of get emotional when I was listening to it. I was like, wow, it's like really touching me. And so I know that you've described that there's a triangular relationship between the artist, the art, and the audience. So can you expand on what that means and how you're able to connect the audience with the complexity of this music?
So like music is like, it's my part of my life. Without music, I think the great thing happened in my life is music. So my music and my life, both, they are together. And when I present it to the audience, and if they become, one with that, that's when we call what is it's like a secretion of a great feeling in them as well. Whatever we are feeling, they are also feeling. So that's the success of our performance. I would say, wow, they really feel it up here. We try to do everything that we can do to preserve our music. So we are trying very hard and to promote and also create interest, because a lot of people don't know what it is. They have never seen sitar, they've never seen a tabla, they've never heard this music. So our goal, we try very much to get them interested into it and kick off from there.
And for more from the mother and son musical duo, Veena Chandra and Devesh Chandra, go to Connecting Point online for a digital extra as they share a quick lesson with us in the instruments associated with Hindustani classical music and give us a front row seat to a song from their performances.
Everything that we play, we can speak back. It's a language. So, for instance, if I say titte, na, tu na, kitte take.
That digital extra is available on our webpage right now. And that does it for this edition of Connecting Point. Remember, you can always find all of the stories that you saw in this episode, as well as exclusive features, digital-only content, and so much more online anytime at nepm.org/connectingpoint. And please be sure to join us again every week right here for more stories of the creativity, culture, and community that make us Western New England. I'm Sidalis Bauer. Thanks for watching and have a good night.
Support for Connecting Point is provided by our contributing viewers.
Are you not excited to be returning?
Rather thought we'd seen the last of you.
I'm trying to forge a new life, a new path.
Life's full of surprises.
How thrilling.
We're going to enjoy ourselves.
General knowledge for 30, 61 seasons of local high school wit.
Belchertown, Arkansas.
Yes, as schools match wits pits area high schools against each other in a fun, competitive quiz show.
Pioneer Valley.
396. Yes, watch your favorite weekly quiz shows Saturday night at 7 or stream it at nepm.org.
This week, Belchertown meets Pioneer Valley Regional on As Schools Match Wits.
New England Public Media, Reading Success by 4th Grade, the Springfield City Library, and Holyoke Early Learning Initiative and many partners offer you 413 Families texting program that provides weekly suggestions for fun and educational community-based activities for young children and their families in the greater Springfield area. Opt in by texting 413 Families to 413-7676 FAM, or for Spanish, text 413 Familias.
My people have gone missing since Europeans set land here on Turtle Island.
We took action, just like you're doing today.
Oh my gosh, my grandma's part of that epidemic.
We demand healing and we demand justice. Our pain is not for their extraction.
You were meant to serve. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
Bring her home Monday at 10 or stream at anypm.org.
This month in Passport on the PBS Video app, your on-demand library for the best of PBS.
Jeans are the quintessential American garment.
By getting video footage, we might be able to unravel this mystery and figure out what they're doing.
Really think you can cross the entire globe in just 80 days?
Certainly, madame. Or die trying. These and other shows from your PBS station are available with Passport on the PBS Video app. Download it today.
You're watching New England Public Media, WGBY Springfield.
The American identity begins when Benjamin Franklin knit the American colonies together.
Franklin is endlessly interesting.
Printer, scientist, revolutionary.
He is the only founding father who evidently had a sense of humor.
His vision is broader than the American Revolution.
The things that he spoke of, that he wrote about, had a certain amount of power.
He really was an American genius.
Ken Burns' Benjamin Franklin, April 4th, or stream at any